It's 11 minutes past 7. You're listening to BBC Surrey Breakfast. Let's deal with one of our top stories this morning. Motorbike enthusiasts are due to gather in Crawley today to challenge proposed changes to the law on using road bikes. Motorbikes, scooters and mopeds account for 16% of deaths on the roads of Europe, but only make up for 2% of traffic. So the European Parliament wants to introduce legislation to make biking safer, but enthusiasts claim tighter regulations would be an attack on their freedom and make biking more expensive. Peter Skinner is the Labour MEP for the South East. He's going to be holding a biker's surgery in Crawley later. Good morning, Mr. Skinner.
Good morning.
I'll get rid of Wham now when you're on. I'll finally get rid of them now. Now, tell me exactly what the European Parliament is proposing.
Well, it's a response to something which has come from the European Commission, but rather than be technical, what we're doing and what I'm trying to do is to gather the voices of many of the motorbike enthusiasts, those people who are so passionate about riding their bikes. Because up until now, the voice of the industry who want to see greater use of technical stuff like ABS for security and safety have been, those voices of the ordinary user have been drowned out. And frankly, I think much of the suggestions that have been made by these new rules are disproportionate to the real outcomes, which are what we all want.
But ABS, I mean, the system where it's effectively an anti-skid mechanism, isn't it? That's been, I don't know whether it's been compulsory in cars for many years, but it's certainly been available in cars for many years. It is a safety measure which surely no one would want to argue against.
Well, absolutely. But there are other systems. ABS is not the only one around, of course. There are combined braking systems which are being developed as well. And now the danger is, of course, that all of that will be put to one side. Plus, of course, ABS does exist for bikes already, and many of the faster and heavier bikes already have it. But what's been suggested by these rules is for lighter bikes like mopeds, for example, that they would have to have ABS as well, and that you couldn't turn it on and off. And if you're on an off-road enthusiast, or you have to use terrain which is difficult, then having ABS on all the time would just not be something that would be practical either. So these rules are too tight. We need to loosen them, and we need to make sure that there are competitive tendencies used to actually show that you've got these risk factors properly weighted.
Is listening to bikers the best idea? Because given the statistics, it suggests that their attitude to risk is rather cavalier.
I wouldn't agree with that. I actually think a lot of bikers who are involved in accidents, and most of the statistics prove that, are involved in third-party accidents, where involved with car accidents, for example.
But given how likely you are to get knocked off your bike, it's amazing to me that some people continue to do it, and you kind of wonder at the mentality of those who do. I mean, I'm speaking as a former motorcyclist myself, who has been knocked off his bike a couple of times. You kind of wonder why people who know what the risks are continue to take them.
Well, nobody wants to see greater risk on the road, absolutely, for sure. And it's our basic instinct to make sure that happens. But when, of course, we react in a way by actually applying technical expertise to it, we actually do another thing. Is we take responsibility away from some of the users themselves who believe perhaps that, OK, everything's going to be perfect. Well, what I'm saying is, actually, with the application of some of these ideas, nothing will change very much. We need to educate the riders themselves and other road users, and that would be far more beneficial, I think, in the long run, in terms of reducing many of the accidents.
So who are you hoping to see this afternoon, and what are you going to do?
Well, many of the organisers, for example, are a national association, and a lot of the local members of that will be there. So a lot of people who actually are already well aware of what's going on, but I'd hope to see people who are ordinary bike enthusiasts who are passionate about this as well, who don't know what's going on, who can equally be a strong voice in advocating and lobbying against it.
Peter, thanks very much for coming on this.